He was okay. Trained with us. Mo will be available tomorrow for only a few minutes, but hopefully can come in. Alisson trains with us again. Let's see where he is tomorrow, if he's ready already or has to wait for one more week. Beautiful socks, by the way. Wow. and the fourth one was Florian. Yeah, stomach infection. So let's see how fit he is for tomorrow. Yeah, he's on antibiotics. So let's see if he's ready to play tomorrow.
Can I just check on?
Boring. Same old answer. So I'm reading the same things as you are probably reading, but that's not where I will talk about over here.
But obviously the fans, if he is to leave, would want to give him a big send-off. So that's obviously why the question's being asked.
Oh yeah, but you can ask the question as many times as you want in different ways. But my answer will be the same. So I think our fans need to support Alisson, no matter if it's his last game or his first game, and that's what they've always done with all of our players. So if he's in goal tomorrow, our fans will support him, and if he's in goal next week, they will support him, and the same goes for next season.
Obviously.
Yeah, we wanted to win because we knew that if we would have won that game, we would have qualified for Champions League. But we tried till the last second, everything to win that game. Where in the second half, people could see that probably a bit more because we were more on the front foot, more on their half than we were in large parts of the first half. But in the end, as so many times this season, the crossbar and the post were in between us. Drawing or winning a game, and as a result of it, we had a draw, which is not the result we wanted, but it's still a point where 1 week earlier we were heading towards a point or maybe towards a win, and in the end lost it. So we take that point and we go to Villa, which is very good. Has been a very good team this season, and now we have to try to win over there. No, they played Sunday, I think. So now we play on Friday. So I don't see being tired as a reason. I think one of the reasons why they are in the final of the Europa League and doing so well in the Premier League is because they have a big squad with many very good players and a lot of players that are of the same level, same high level. If you don't have that, you're not able to go all the way to the final in the Europa League and do so well in the Premier League. So and the good thing for them is that at the moment, yeah, they have one or two injuries, but not so many. So I think they are completely ready to go into Friday, to go into Wednesday, and then go into Sunday. I think he's one of maybe the player that. That changed that position into a player that constantly goes up and down and up and down. I think we all and I said this before. We all remember the clip where he started to press from left fullback, ended up at the right wing, and went again. I think many managers showed that at that time to their players. I was one of them. To show what a mentality and what an intensity he played with then. And I think throughout his whole period he played with that intensity. He's becoming a fullback that, like I said, that constantly went up and down and be important on both sides of the pitch, where back in the old days defenders mainly had to defend. He's one of the fullbacks that changed that position to doing both. And apart from that, he's a great human being. I think I've experienced that in the 2 years I'm working with him, and I think every fan recognizing what I say when we see social media posts or in other moments when he's just playing, and he always gives his best for the club on and off the pitch. So he's been a very influential player for this club on the pitch, but definitely also in the dressing room. That's one of the reasons why we're in the position we are in. And what I mean with that is we wanted to be higher or doing better this season, but we've dropped far too many points in away games. And as I said, but that's maybe always happening in the end of the season. You constantly feel you're telling everyone the same things, but dropping points in away games has mainly happened after playing in Europe. In games where usually Liverpool is able to win. Now Villa away doesn't matter if you play it after a game in Europe or after a week of rest, because it will always be a difficult game, but we've dropped points in away games against teams where we usually don't drop points, and that has this season happened far too many times after playing in Europe. And that's one of the reasons why we have not qualified yet for the Champions League.
So is that one of the challenges for next season, to be able to see out games that you should win or even at least get a draw from?
Now, first of all, the first challenge is to be fitter and more ready to play 3 days in sometimes 2 days after we've played in Europe. And I think we've shown this season that we've progressed in that. So that's already helpful. Second of all, indeed, we've had more than a few times in away games a good, not starting position, but after 70 or 80 minutes we were in a good place. But maybe that goes hand in hand. We've also dropped points quite a lot in the last phase of a game, which maybe also has to do with the amount of games we have to play. That's not different to any other team, but it's been done by mainly the same players. I think the number 1 and the number 2 this season in terms of playing minutes all around the world is number 1 is Virgil van Dijk and the number 2 is Dominic Szoboszlai. And in the top 15, top 20, there are 5 or 6 players of us. So that's also why I have so much respect for these players, that they are in a difficult season, physically and mentally. They have constantly been available, and that's been mainly the same players.
Oh.
I think the world has gone to, if a manager or a club, and as a result of that the manager doesn't have their best season, there's always debate about that. It's not only at Liverpool, it's all around the world. That is also the new reality in football, and it's not up to me to judge the people that judge me. So they have every right to have their opinion, and in this modern time everyone can share his opinion as well. So yeah, by the way, this happened 10-15 years ago as well, but then you did it in the pub and not everyone heard it. Now it's probably also done in the pub. If I read what they are saying, they must have drunk a little bit. But that's a joke, to be. So yeah, but now it's more out in the open than it was back in the days, and that's everywhere the same. So I would be surprised if that would have been different here at Liverpool.
Have you had?
We know where we go on tour, so plans have been made, and talks have been ongoing between the club and new players, and I'm involved in that. Yeah, if that's what you wanted to know.
Yeah.
If there's a resolution, is that what you say? Yeah, then we will tell the world. But at this moment of time, it's not yet. So yeah, the moment it is, we will share this information. But indeed, as you say, you knew what the answer was going to be.
Arne, I just ask you about Harvey Elliott. Obviously, his loan at Villa hasn't worked out how anyone would have envisaged. I think he's only played 280 minutes all season. How do you view this, the way it's worked out for him, and what about his future beyond this season?
Yeah. No, I think for him, for everyone, it didn't work out as he wanted it, as we wanted it, and probably also how Villa wanted it, because you usually sign a player or bring him in on loan to use him, but it hasn't happened a lot, and that's not for me to answer why that is. But of course, it's never nice for a player not to make so many minutes, especially after the season he had with us, where he made, I assume, I'm not even sure, but I assume he made more minutes with us than these 280. But he went over there to get more playing time. But unfortunately that didn't happen, and for such a talented player that did so well, was the Euros, I think it was, in the under-21s, yeah. That did so well, you want a player like that to get more and more playing time. But yeah, He went to a very, very good team as well, where they also have a lot of good players. So it's, yeah, I don't know why he hasn't made the minutes he was expecting, but that's not for me to answer. But it's always a pity if a player hardly plays for 2 years, let alone if a player of that age that has shown during the Euros that he's such a good player.
Is the plan for him to come back and do pre-season here? And do you think he could force his way back into?
He's contracted to us, so he will be with us in the start of the season. Yeah. I think he's contracted to us. Yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, because Milos has played a lot of games. So if I had a different opinion about that, then it would have been a weird decision to play Milos. So I think completely different age, but similar types, you could say. Both have a lot of desire to go up and down. There are also differences, but I think it's not the place for me to speak about what the difference between these two are. But because there are differences, I also used both of them quite a lot for what I thought was needed for that game. But Milos has a bright future. Being at this age, having the experience already of so many Premier League games, having the experience now playing for a top club, Champions League and Premier League football here at Liverpool, yeah, that his performances can only go up, and we're already happy of what we are seeing from him.
Arne, just to follow on from Carl's question, obviously about the speculation around the future at times because it's been a difficult season. Can you kind of put an end to that by saying that, you know, categorically you will be the Liverpool manager next season?
I don't think I'm deciding that alone on myself, but I have every reason to believe I'm the Liverpool manager next season. First of all, I'm contracted to this club, and second of all, from all the talks we are having, so yeah, that is my take on it. But as you said, if you don't have the best season, especially if you compare it with last season, if you compare it with other seasons, maybe you have a different debate. But if you compare it with last season, this has definitely not been a great season. Then it's also normal that criticism comes. And I think we've all had our share. And with all, I mean the players have had their share, the manager have had their share, and other people in the club have had their share. That is how things work nowadays if you don't win the league. Not at all, because this is what football brings. So the intention, as I've said after the game, is never to end up in a low block, but we are playing Premier League and we've played Champions League, and sometimes you face teams that are also very comfortable and good on the ball. Chelsea is definitely one of them, as 3 or 4 or 5 others. They like to have ball possession. I can also turn it around. I don't think it was Chelsea's intention to be constantly on their own half in the second half. I would be completely surprised, because that's not their style of play. But sometimes the other team is better or has a phase of the game where they are better. And then you have to defend. And the team that's going to win the league, at least that's I assume, I think Arsenal is going to win the league, is a team that has large spells in the game where they have to defend in a low block. And they do that really well, by the way. That's also one of the reasons why they're going to win the league. And you have to sometimes accept you don't want this, but if the other team is having the ball, yeah, then you have to defend, which is quite common in football. That you defend, you defend with 11 players. That's the new reality in football. Ideally, you do this high up the pitch, but if that's not possible because the other team is having a good spell, you have to try to keep a clean sheet, and that's just where we have not been good enough this season. The moments when we have to defend, when we have a spell of 10-15 minutes, because it was not so much longer than 10-15 minutes against Chelsea. For the rest of the game, I think we were the dominant team. But in that 10, 15, 20 minutes, 25, I don't know exactly, we conceded a goal. And that's also a worry. And in the other minutes, when we are the better team, we struggle to either create enough chances from being the better team. And if we have the chances, we've struggled to score the goals that we should score if you look at chances created. Especially if you compare this to last season, because I don't think we've had much more chances than last season, but with last season we were much better able to convert them to goals.
Do you think there's anything you can do to try and change that momentum a little bit quicker? Because there's been a few games this season where it's felt like Liverpool's taken the lead and tried to get that second goal, but then there's been a moment where it's almost just switched a little bit and they've become a little bit more worried about conceding rather than continuing to attack. Is there anything that you can do or maybe say to them at half time or after the game to try and keep that momentum up and keep them thinking positively?
Of course, we can do something about that, and we try to. And I also think you saw this because the second half was completely different than the first half. During a spell of 10-15 minutes where the other team is better, it's not so easy to have to speak to all 11 players to do something else. But it's a situation where Chelsea had the ball, they could find their fixture slot, could go to the end phase of our attack, and the moment we won the ball back, we were with 11 players behind the ball. We didn't have a player to play into and to come off. And this is so normal if you watch the Premier League. You constantly see this everywhere, that because the league has become so strong that every team in any game has a 10-15 minute spell where one of the two teams is better. You can also look at it differently and say that we've been, I don't think I exaggerate, over 70 or 80% of the time of the games we played the better team. I think I saw a stat that we've been in the final third of every team in the Premier League. I saw that stat, by the way. But that doesn't lead to enough chances. And we are aware why that is.